Hi my Stampin' friends, I'm Sandra at artypapercrafters.com, an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I have a lovely video tutorial for you today. Now I was looking through my catalogue for a bit of inspiration, as you might say, and I noticed on page 141 the stamp set Beautiful You, a gorgeous stamp set. And I saw this little card here that had been made, and I thought what a wonderful way that could be to use up some of your scraps of DSP. So let me just show you it up closer. There it is, that one here. And I thought what a wonderful way to use up scraps of DSP, because I'm sure like me, you cut up DSP to make bigger items with, and you're left with all these thin slithers and scrappy bits, and you think, what can I make with those? So I have made these cards today. They are different to the catalogue, slightly different, but using that same ideas of cutting the circles. So I'm going to show you how I went about making that today with my scraps. So let me move the catalogue onto the floor. I've also stamped the inside of my cards as well, because I do like cards to be finished off properly. Then you can give them to someone and they're all done. Right then, so let me show you how I made that. All the details and measurements of all these pieces will be on my blog. And if any of you are interested in buying any Stampin' Up products, I'd be delighted if you could choose me as your chosen demonstrator. So you need to cut 5 circles, so you get all your scraps together, and using a 1.5 inch punch, I've cut some bits and bobs that I had, and tried to sort of arrange them so that they all look good together, leaving the 6th one here blank. And for that we need a piece of powder pink I'm using today to stamp my lady, and I'm going to stamp my lady using Tranquil Tide. So this is the Beautiful You stamp set. It is a 2-box stamp set, but I've amalgamated it into the one. And I've prepped my lady, my posh lady here, onto a block, and we're just going to stamp her off, or stamp her on. So let me get some scratch paper, because I don't want to make a mess on there. So you stamp down your lady like that. So you don't need the whole of the lady, because you won't fit the whole obviously in a 1.5 inch punch. So you line it up so that you've definitely got the top of her head in, and punch out your little lady. Right, so let's move that out of the way. Now I've got my pencils, and these are the watercolour pencils, and I'm just using one of these to colour in her dress, and I think I'm going to use the Old Olive one, and all I'm going to do is to just give you a flavour of it coloured in, so it's not going to take too long, because I'm just lightly colouring it in so that you get that idea. And just a little on her hat. Like that. So can you see I've just done, I've just done a little flavour of colouring it in. I think I forgot to mention that my scraps come from the Delightful Daisy DSP and from the Whole Lot of Lovely DSP. I love this DSP, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous papers in this. This is my favourite of all. Right, so she's getting it all in the ink. Oh dear, never mind. Right, carrying on. So let's put our card together, because it really is a quick and easy project that you can do in next to no time. So we've got all our scraps laid out, and then we want to just lay them out onto the piece of Whisper White. So lay those out to where they're going to go, about like that. Do you know, I've got cat's hairs where my cat climbs all over my desk. Look at the state of my hands today. Oh, I think I'm gonna have to clean them off. Right, I've prepped up on my block Happy Birthday Gorgeous from the stamp set. So into the Tranquil Tide ink, and then line it up to where you want it. We're stamping it fairly near the bottom here. So line that up and stamp down Happy Birthday Gorgeous. And now we're just going to adhere all our little pieces. So I'm just using some snail today to just adhere our pieces. And I'm going fairly close to the top, so do your end pieces first to arrange them equidistant. So I suppose I've come about 1/8 of an inch away from that edge. And then put this one in the middle, about the equal distance. Make sure you've got an equal distance between your three, and then do the same with these bottom ones, same distance. So that's done there. So now we're going to put all our layers together. So I've got a piece of powder pink, which measures 8 1/4 by 5 3/4, and you score it on the long side at 4 1/8, and that's the top layer. The measurements for all these layers will be on my website, so check that out. So let's layer this onto here. And I'm layering this onto a piece of black, basic black, because that matches the colour in the DSP. And that's what I like about Stampin' Up, is that everything coordinates as it should. I love that. Now I've made a little bow. Oh, my hands are in a terrible state. I've made a little bow using the finely woven ribbon, and I've chopped that and made a little bow. We're going to stick that on with a glue dot. Couple of glue dots on there, and then we're going to stick that onto the middle one there, and I think that looks pretty. Now to finish the inside, I've cut another piece of basic black with a piece of Whisper White, and we're going to do some more stamping for the middle of our card. So let me show you how I've stamped that. So using Tranquil Tide and powder pink, I've taken the flowers. There's a little flower in the Happy Birthday Gorgeous, which is this one here. I've taken that and stamped that and used that little leaf from here as well to get my little flowers. So opening up the powder pink ink, I'm going to stamp my flowers. Oh, that wasn't very good, was it? Let me just see if I can line that up. I'm going to have to bring it here so that I can see. Right, so I've stamped that again. So let me bring you down slightly. Down, Sandra. Down. And then I've just stamped 3 off in the corner here, like that. And I've noticed that there's a little matching petal that goes over the top of that, so I'm going to stamp that in powder pink as well. Like that. And then I've got my little leaf. I'm just going to stamp that off and then off in a lighter stamping on and stamping off. So one like that, one like that. And then, oops, more ink on my fingers. So like that. So it's just a bit of stamping done. And I'm going to, just for good measure, I'm going to have one in the corner there, just because I can. Right then, so I haven't done my sentiment, and I like this sentiment from this stamp set that says, live with passion, laugh out loud, love deeply. I like that. So we're going to stamp that in the Tranquil Tide ink. Let me move that over so that you can see, and getting it centered, stamp that down. Right then, now we're going to close up our ink pads and we're going to layer it up onto our black. So this is a great way to use up your scraps of DSP that tend to just sit in the packet and you think, what can I do with that? But I watch the ink on my hands so I don't get that on there. Right, so a bit more ink onto our cardstock. Where's my card gone? Here it is. Lost it. Open that up. Place that into the centre of our card. Like that. And that finishes that off nicely. And I think you'll agree that that's just a great way to use up your scraps. So if you are interested in purchasing any supplies, I'd be delighted if you could choose me as your demonstrator. My hostess code for the month of July is EXN3FT, S for Sandra, number 9. And if you use that hostess code when you shop online with me, I'll send you lots of lovely goodies at the end of the month as a thank you from me. So that's all from me today, and do join me again. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you to all my subscribers who subscribe to my channel. And until the next time, it's bye for now. Bye.